What's going on, guys? Welcome to your third Unity tutorial against me, Travis, of mybringback. What we're going to do in this tutorial is just learn about the navigation within the scene window over here. How to kind of control your scene, kind of look around objects. It's going to be the basic functions, and then throughout the series I'll show you guys some shortcuts, some quick tips, but this is the basics. So up here in our scene window, we can navigate by clicking on the Z-axis, the Y-axis. Okay, so we can kind of, if we want a certain direction or linked up to our X and Y axis, we can do that through this control panel here. You can also click the square and it'll go into a perspective type view. Again, this isn't changing our camera. This is just changing our view, not the game view at all, because we aren't changing the rotation of our camera. We are changing the way that we are looking at all the objects within our scene. So what you can do is you're in perspective mode, or let's just go into like a behind the camera. You can select objects within your scene. If you right click, you can rotate around your scene. And if you have a middle click button, that is your pan button. Alright, so those are your three buttons on your mouse. Pretty self-explanatory. But let's go a little bit more in depth and actually add our first game object. We're going to go up to the Game Object tab, Create Other, and we are just going to create a simple sphere. So as you can see over here in our game scene, this is our sphere right now. It's alright. It looks like it's kind of off in the distance or something. And once we have our sphere selected, we can rename this player, or you can double click and it will bring that up. But up here in our inspector, we can rename it. So we're going to rename this as player. What else do we want to do? Well, since we're starting out with a simple temple runner game, we're going to change our Z-axis to be at 0. This will make more sense later. Might as well change all of these, the X position, the Y position, and the Z position to be 0. Our game looks like our camera is not actually, actually picking up where our ball is. So let's click on our camera. And as we can see, our X position, we probably want to have that as 0. Let me see if I can get a better view. Think of our camera as popping out of the screen right now because it's negative Z. So again, our ball right here is 0, 0, 0 in space. And for right now, our camera is 0 on the X-axis, which is the same as the ball. But the Y-axis looks like it's at negative, I'm just going to take a guess here, about negative 8.910879. Just a rough estimate. But what we want to do is we want to move this camera up. We can either do that by selecting this arrow here and dragging it up, or we can go over to our inspector and just set it at 0, which looks pretty good. Our Z, we're going to have negative 10. Again, if we go to a top view, so I'm going to click this Y-axis and kind of scroll back. Again, your scroll wheel will kind of go in and out of the screen here, so you can zoom in and zoom out of all of your gadgets here. So as you can see here, when we select our arrow, this is again the Z plane. We're moving the camera closer to the ball, and as you can see over here in the inspector, it's now at negative 2. But we're going to stick with a solid negative 10 because that's kind of the standard. So that's kind of the basic concepts and basic navigation. Now something that you can do is select your object and hit F. That's going to focus in on that object specifically, and you can rotate around that object. That's where the focal point is going to be. So if you right click on your mouse, it's going to just kind of rotate around that object. Again, we aren't rotating the object itself. We're rotating our view around the object. And if you guys have worked with 3D software before, a lot of the same concepts, but for those of you that haven't, just kind of explaining what's going on here. That again, we can scroll back, kind of see everything else, check our main camera. And that's pretty much the introduction to our game so far. Again, we're just kind of get some basic navigation, kind of explain the layout of Unity. I know we're kind of moving slow still, but we will get into it here pretty soon. So make sure you check out the next tutorial, guys, and thanks again for watching. Have a great day.